Well, welcome back into the cottage garden here at Blakeney at Gardener's Cottage, and we're full on rose season now. A little bit windy here this morning when we're filming, so we may well end up putting some music on part of this tour for you. But let's go and explore this cottage garden and show you what's doing really well now we're into the second week of June. Cicericiums just greeting me directly behind the front gate. Really small planting of them here. We've got, I think, what are some marines coming up at the base there for next year. Remember those flowering, but these are in full flower at the moment. These little area, beautiful yellow flowers, dark centres on these upright spikes. Beautiful. Gertrude Jekyll's just greeting guests beautifully here in front of one of the downstairs bedroom windows, in front of the steps to the front door. Beautiful, full corded rose this. Fantastic heavy scent. In the background we've just got the last of the Banks Lucii, which would normally have been finished for a couple of weeks before this Gertrude Jekyll's flowering, but just look at the quality of those blooms and the buds to come. Absolute massive perpetual flower throughout the summer, held at this beautiful window height, so it's seen from inside on the approach and from inside in the bedroom looking out towards the garden. And on the opposite side of the drive behind that Gertrude Jekyll is this beautiful late Dutch honeysuckle. I wish I could share the scent with you here on this run. Quite a breeze up this morning, but just look what we've got flowering in front of the lounge window. This mock orange Philadelphus, scent of which is just incredible. It's growing through what in the next couple of weeks is going to be another mass of similar colour pattern flowers, with the rambling rector that's gone up to around 12 feet, and the Philadelphus nicely contrasted against the purple leaf of the prunus behind it, which is now well finished flowering. And then if we come round into the main part of the garden, geraniums, and just look here, white valerian, red valerian, more Cicericium and the oxeye daisies. Big splash of colour at the base of the fig tree with the Californian poppies. I think this is golden showers. It's not thorny enough to be a Maygold, but we've got a Maygold to show you in a little bit. And just look at the lush planting we've got here on this little gravel courtyard patio area, the back of Gardeners. This iris is simply spectacular. I'm just going to put my hand in frame to give you some idea of the size of these blooms and the pure colour on them with the darks. Quite unusual this to have a throat that's not bright orange, but this one hasn't. The iris throats on this are the same colour as the actual flowers in that dark purple. Absolutely spectacular. Planting here at this time of year is just so lush. A little bit of Egyptian iris in the foreground, and then a planting of this beautiful burnt buttercup yellow iris just under the shade in this corner. And on the opposite side, the wild iris of Norfolk and England, I suppose, flag iris, which has been brought over from the Ludham garden, doing perfectly happily in this sunshine here in dry semi-shade. And the back courtyard generally is just looking so nice and lush now. Beautiful place to come out and eat. Let's go around onto the other side to show you as we walk round here. More oxeye daisies. Lilac's almost finished now, just the last little bit still there, but mainly it needs deadheading now. And beautiful tall ball alliums, a little planting we put in here just to pick up the white. There's roses in the background which are later roses, but what we've got just starting to flower now through this Montana alba is the climbing iceberg, coming out beautifully, and that will extend this flowering of pure white as you sit looking out down this long border. Not had much rain here now for a couple of weeks, so we're going to spend quite a bit of the time here on turnover watering these borders to keep them looking this lush. There's this beautiful rose in the foreground, which old-fashioned quarter Peter Beals, I think. Can't remember the name of this one, I should be able to look it up. Flowering nicely in the foreground here, with the catmints just picking up in the background. And then the Lysomachia, lovely yellow drift of that with the blue catmints coming through. The Crocosmia just starting to poke out through the top, that's fire glow. And in another couple of weeks will be a dazzling spires of bright orange. So it's looking very lush. One last bit to show you, which is the courtyard garden, which we'll go through to now. Just before we do go back through into the courtyard, I just thought I'd give you the view from the sofa here, looking down that long border. Particularly comes to light in the evenings when the light's a little dull. The white on the wall just tends to glow and give a fantastic display from the house. And here we are through the kitchen out into the back courtyard with the maygolds planted against the flint and cast stone wall, and the repeat planting in this corner. Absolute mass of flower. You see how much deadheading we've still got to do on this one. Wisteria growing along the top's just about finished now. And the rose in the corner again covered in bloom and flower. We've got valerian along the base. Got some rather late honesty still picking up colour in this corner, and then the repeat planting of the climbing iceberg in the corner. Struggles a little bit, this one, under the heavy canopy that forms later in the season on this rather large leaf fig tree, which we've planted to give some shade in here on really hot afternoons. But again, a nice lush tropical feel to this courtyard. Got lemon verbena, rosemary, lemon balm. So as you walk through this, coming out through that door, brush against all those herbs, and the aromas are just lovely. So I'm very pleased with this. Bay tree shooting away in this corner, really having to be restrained into this corner so it doesn't reduce the light from the French window coming out into the courtyard. But generally I'm very pleased with the planting and the way it's coming on, and it's lovely to have the roses out here. There's still a week and a half away from that in the mid-Norfolk garden, where we haven't got the benefit of this enclosed walled warming effect.